this book absolutely took me in the different direction that I thought it was gonna be. Like, yeah, I read the back and I was like, okay, like, it's relationship, but like, it's a disturbing. So I was like, I don't know what that means, you know? The ending, I really like, it got me. Like, I was in tears, I was sobbing, and I wish I could read this book from the perspective of like not reading it ever, so I could feel those emotions again and like feel the way that she wanted you to feel, because the way that in the book it makes you fall in love with him, like not you personally, whatever, but like it makes you feel the way that she feels about him. And I love that. I love how she wrote him in particular, but even Lily as well. But so yeah, it makes you go through like a bunch of emotions. Like in the beginning you're like love, 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 and then at the end you're like what? Like it gives you that like complete shock. But yeah, so let me just sit with my little drinky. Let me bring my laptop down here because I have some notes. Okay. For Lily, I think she is like a sweet, soulful person, which is why I really liked the way that they chose Blake Lively, because she is a phenomenal actor. And this person and this character from the book, Lily, it kind of makes me feel like every other character that Blake Lively has ever played. Like the sweet and caring and like down to earth type of woman, but Lily has trauma, you know, from her past, and then just everything, just it gives me like a hopeless romantic type of vibe. Like she gives me a hopeless romantic type of vibe, which I love. Like she wants love. She doesn't want like nowadays when everybody just, you know, hangs out and, you know, all that. But she just is, it's a beautiful character, and I really enjoyed like watching her progress through the book. Okay, Ryle, he gives off like a fuckboy vibe. Like, I'm a neurosurgeon, I'm a doctor, like I'm, you know, like you have to be arrogant in order to be a doctor. I feel like not all doctors, I'm saying, but like you have to have that confidence in yourself. I feel to be a doctor, you have to be like fully confident, you have to be arrogant, you have to know what you're doing, you know what I mean? But like towards the beginning he was giving off like rico suave type vibes, and then at the end he was giving off like ew, stop, like, and then it just kind of makes you like think about relationships, you know, like, oh well, he did this, that's a red flag, or he did that, but like I love him type thing, you know what I mean? Like making excuses for him. And that's just kind of the guy who he is. So okay, so opening, well, I guess it's not like opening scene, but one of the first encounters that Ryle and Lily have together is they're on a rooftop, and it's a building where his sister lives, and it's just a building that she likes the rooftop because it has a garden, and you know, she's very again, like I said, she's very down to earth, and she likes to see the skyline and all that, literally everything. She's a sweet person. And she meets him up there. He's sitting up there, or she's sitting up there, and he comes in and he starts like throwing things. And that is like the first thing that I noticed. Like it clicked in my head, like, oh, he's aggressive, you know, like he's kicking things, he's throwing things, you know, he's angry, which is, you know, people have a right to be angry, and you rather kick chairs and stuff rather than people, but still, that like, it kind of like, I made a mental note, it triggered me a little bit. But yeah, so they meet each other, they're talking, and like one of the things that I really enjoyed was their conversation. What was it called? Was it called Naked Truths? It was a naked truth. It means like 100% honest, like, and that's basically what they were doing. And then once like the night progresses and they're talking and they like each other, but remind you, it's only like 10-15 minutes up there that he's up there with her. He tells her like, oh, I want you. And she was like, what? And she was like, no, like I want a relationship. I want the hearts and flowers. I want love. You know, I'm a hopeless romantic. And he's like, oh, okay, well, he's like, I just want you. And I was like, okay, little F-boy vibes, which is okay for, you know, some, but like, she didn't want that. Girlfriend did not want that. And then after that, he gets a call from, you know, because he's a doctor. So he gets a call and he's like, hey, you have to come back to work. And so he's like, he takes a picture of her. Click, click, you know. Takes a picture of her and was like, and she, you know, she's like, oh my gosh. And they didn't swap numbers. They didn't do anything. She's like, no, you don't want the same things I do, but I'll see you soon. Or like, see you later, see you next time, you know? But like, she didn't think she was ever going to see him again. So, but she told him where her house was. Like, oh, I live over here in, behind this building. But she never told him what floor she was, what number her house was, whatever. So then she goes I think it's like a month later or 2 months later or whatever, she opens her flower shop. It's called Lily Blooms, which is so cute and so cheesy because her last name is Bloom also. But yeah, so she opens her flower shop and she hires a woman, and turns out homegirl is Ryle's sister. But we found this out because him and Ryle's brother-in-law, she hurt her ankle, and she's like, oh my gosh, my brother's a doctor, let me call him. And so then she calls him up, and he comes in, and he's like, oh my gosh, like, how's your ankle, blah blah blah, you know, like, let me see. And then he realizes it's her, and he's like, oh, I didn't know I was gonna see you again, like, I really think you're hot, I want you still. And she, you know, she plays it off, ha ha ha, no, you're silly, like, you can't just say that. And then the sister's like, oh my gosh, like, he has more manners than this, you know? Girl. So then after that, he's like, oh, I can't get, or whatever, that ends, you know, he goes home or whatever. And then a couple days later, he feels like, oh, I can't stop thinking about you. He knocks on her door and she's like, what are you doing here? How are you even here? How are you even here right now? I didn't tell you where I lived. He went and knocked on every single door in the apartment building to find her door. And at first I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, like, he really wanted to find her. Like, he can't get this girl he can't get Lily out of his head, you know? Like, she's the one. But then I'm thinking, on the other hand, that is a red flag too. That's obsession. You know, like, you went on every single door to find me. That's crazy. That's some crazy right there. I will drink to that one. Cause girl. So then when he gets to her, you know, apartment, she's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? How did you find me? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I remember you told me this, this, and this. And she's like, so you knocked on all the doors in my apartment building? And he was like, yeah, I did. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, that, he's obsessed with me. And he's like, oh, I just need one time. Like, just give me one time. And then I just need to get it out of my system. I need to get you out of my system. I can't stop thinking about you. I want this, this, and this. And so she's like, okay. So then she's like, let me take a shower. Which at first she was like, no, no, no. And then she was like, she kind of gave in a little bit. And she's like, okay. So she's like, let me go take a shower. I just got off of work, blah, blah, blah. And so she goes, takes a shower. She comes back and he's sleeping in her bed. So she just said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then he fell asleep. So what the heck? And then after that, you know, they start seeing each other, and, you know, they're getting closer together, and the relationship progresses, and he's like, I only want you. And she's like, oh, but you said this and this. He's like, I don't need that anymore. You know, I really just want you. And she should have said no, because lo and behold, a few scenes occur. One of them in particular that I was like, that's when you like really see his character, like, oh my gosh. He and her are drinking, they're having a good time, you know, they're loving up on each other, they're making food together. And then Ryle goes to take something out of the oven without oven mitts. And so, you know, he's a surgeon, he needs his hands, but he burns himself on said pan to take out of the oven. And they're drinking. So Lily's like, hee hee hee, ha ha ha. She's, you know, laughing. And she's having a good time. But he gets angry at her. And he's like, I need my hands. And he's yelling at her. And he pushes her so much that she like falls. And she hits her head. And she starts bleeding. So then I'm like, oh my God, what an, you know, a-hole. Like, what a jerk. And then she's starting to process, like, oh, like, she's getting sober because, you know, the love that she thought was her life, the love of her life, was just pushed her, you know? He just hurt her. And, you know, she has witnessed that all her life with her mom and her dad. So she's like, what's happening? Like, my past is coming into my life now, and I'm finding a man who's doing these things to me. And, well, that was the first occurrence, but yeah, it was that one. And she's like, oh my God, like, what happened, you know? Like, and he's like, I'm so sorry, like, I didn't mean to push you, blah blah blah, you tripped, type thing. And then she's like, okay. So she forgives him, he apologizes, he forgives him. And then a few, like, I think it was a few weeks later, he pushes her down the stairs because she wanted to leave him. So he's like, all right. And then he pushed her down the stairs. And then when she found out that he said, oh, I didn't push you, you tripped, you fell down, you did this, he was blaming her. So then I was like, another red flag. Leave him, Lily, don't. And then a little bit after that, she finds out that she is pregnant with his baby. I just need to hide a little bit because this is getting ridiculous. Oh, and then I forgot to tell you that her past lover, when she was like 16 years old, Atlas, comes into the mix, and she meets this lover boy, Ryle, and he's like telling her, like, no, I don't like him for you, because he noticed that she had bruises all over her body, and he's like, if you need out, like, I got you, like, just let me know. And he owned a restaurant that they went to. That's how they found each other, reconnected or whatever. But yeah, so then she's pregnant, and then it's Ryle's baby, and then and she's contemplating in her head, like, do I go back to him, do I not, like, I don't know. And she's really thinking about it because now she has a baby, and now she has to take care of her baby, and what if he can change? And it's really all about, like, reflecting on if he can change or not, which is kind of devastating because, you know, all of that craziness. And then at some point they end up getting married. But she, you know, she's pregnant. It's a few months in or whatever. And they moved in together, and she has an apartment. She has an apartment with him. And then he ends up hurting her again, which was, I believe, was the staircase scenario. And then he went to live with his sister. And she's putting up furniture, she's doing this, and this, you know, being an independent woman with a baby on the way. So she's building the crib, and, like, he's like, I really need to talk to you, like, I'm so sorry. And the brother-in-law ends up coming downstairs. He's like, I'm not leaving you here alone with her because we don't trust you with her. And then she's like, no, it's okay, I'll talk to him alone. So then she talks to him, and she tells him, like, and this is my favorite line in the book. Actually, let me find it. Oh, like, naked truth. This is like, I don't even know where to start, Lily. He rubs his hands down his face. How about you start with, I'm sorry I attacked you. His eyes met mine, wide with certainty. Lily, you have no idea. I am so sorry. You have no idea what I've been through these past 2 months knowing what I've done to you. I clench my teeth together. I can feel my fingers as they fist around the blanket beside me. I have no idea what he's been through. I shake my head slowly. You have no idea, Ryle. I stand up, the anger, hatred spilling out of me. You have no idea. You have no idea what it's like to go through what you've put me through, to fear for your life at the hands of the man you love, to get physically sick just thinking about what he's done to you. You have no idea, Ryle. None. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you for doing this to me. I suck in a huge breath, shocked at myself. The anger just came like a wave. I wipe at my tears and spin around, unable to look at him. If your daughter came to you and told you that the person who she loved was hurting her, what would you say? And that line itself, like, literally shook me to my core, because I'm not trying to get deep, but I have had an experience in my life where it was kind of like that. And you don't know what to do, you know, like, you're shook, and you it's like a trauma bonding where they have power over you, and you feel helpless, and you feel like you can't get out, or like that you don't want to get out. So like the fact that she like said that kind of like made me feel empowered, you know, and the women that have gone through stuff like this, empowered. But yeah, so it ends with us, literally means it ends with us, because she's breaking generational curses, because she chooses her child in the end. And that's why it's called It Ends With Us, because it ends with Lily and her daughter. She's not going to repeat the pattern of what her father and her mother had, which is amazing. And this book was phenomenal. Like, if you don't want to read it, then that's crazy for you, because this book literally sent me over the moon, like over the edge. I didn't read the second one just because I loved how this ended. Like, it was a mom choosing her daughter over and over and over again, and that is so powerful, because a lot of parents don't do that, you know. So this book, 10 out of 10, I would recommend, and I think you should give it a chance and read it before the movie comes out, so that you have a comparison. But yeah, definitely read the book. I really hope you enjoyed this video and my little rant. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on when talking about this book. So if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about it or anything, just give me a comment and I will be sure to answer you. All right, have a great day or night or morning or whatever you're watching this. Have a good one. Bye.